Welcome to this weekly beat with me, Matoma, and today's guests are no other than Tomine Harket. She's a well-established artist name here in Norway. She's had beautiful collaborations with artists like Alan Walker, Stig Brenner, and she has made an international name for herself. The family goes way back in music, and her father was also an artist. So I really want to just learn about how it was to grow up in a home where you had music and artistry around you 24/7, and also how that influenced her life in becoming an artist herself. I really want to get to know her, and then we're gonna make a beautiful song, and we're gonna release it tomorrow. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, what's up? Have to do this in English?
Yes, that is true.
But it's so amazing to finally actually meet you.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So many years in the industry, and
Yes.
we have never spoken together.
No, we haven't. I think I met you or didn't meet you, but I think it was at one of the award thingies where you just stood like very close to me. That's all we have gotten.
Is that P3?
Yeah, probably yes.
Many years ago?
Yes.
2015?
Yeah, probably.
I haven't been since.
You haven't?
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mr. Big Shot.
No, big shot, no.
Yeah.
It's not like that. It's just, it's hard for me to explain, but I really don't like going to those type of parties.
Yeah.
For some reason.
I don't either.
No.
I really don't.
But then for some reason, sometimes it's necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of have to.
Yeah. Do you then feel like when you go to those parties that you kind of like have to be somebody else?
If I feel that?
Yeah.
I
feel that.
Yeah.
Or I at least did that back in the days when I started.
Yeah. No, I've realized now, getting older, that I have done that more than I was aware of.
Yeah.
That I was kind of acting.
Yeah.
Because I've always been like, oh, I'm such an outgoing person and I can speak to anyone, but that's just me acting, kind of.
But I have to say,
Yeah.
you have perfect English.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my, this is gonna be an amazing episode,
Yeah,
you know?
the best episode
The best
ever.
episode ever.
Yeah.
No, but I'm seriously so excited about this session, because your talent is one of the most incredible talents I've come over in Norway when it comes to authenticity.
Yeah.
Towards art, your soul and your artistry, and your like the way that you write, the way that you sing, the way that you present that message in the songs. It's very artistic, and it's very you.
That's very, very nice. That's a nice compliment.
Yeah,
That's a very good
yeah.
compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I truly mean it.
Thank you.
And I wanted to have a coffee for you, but sadly, one thing in my life that I've always been so bad at is time.
Oh, I am horrible at it. I'm awful.
Everything I try to go to, or everything I try to do, is just like I'm always late.
Same.
Yeah.
Always late. I feel like that's an artist thing.
Yeah.
It's very common.
It's not a personal thing.
Yeah. No, it's not.
No?
I feel, well, maybe, yeah.
I think it's more like your personality, that you're like more chilled, and that
Well,
you
yeah.
take life maybe a little easier than the standard, you know, like waking up and just like, oh, I have to go to work, you know, because our work is very fluent. We
Yes.
work, we can work at night,
Yeah.
we can work in the day. It's not like the routine that makes us
Yeah.
efficient. It's the spirit,
Yeah.
like the
That's
soul.
very
like,
true.
Like
Yeah.
it's hard to explain to people like how inspiration works, but like I can sit there for hours and not make a thing.
Yeah.
And then suddenly just like boom, wow, shit, poof.
Yeah.
And then I have a song in an hour.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like for me, a good session isn't necessarily a session where you make a whole song. A good session can also be a good conversation that sparks something that then maybe later becomes a song or whatever. Like it doesn't have to be always that you make, because I get very stressed out when people are stressed out in the studio. Like we have to like if we have to hurry up or
be
we have
efficient,
to,
you know, like
and they're like, oh, but let's just do this. I'm like, no, but now you're screwing up my
process.
Because I want it to be natural.
Yeah.
Which is also why when other top liners or other writers, I'm very
it's my
I was like, what is this?
No, it's just a photo box. Over the years I've gotten so many speed tickets.
You have?
No, I haven't actually. I try to be a gangster.
Yeah,
but,
I feel like you don't give off the type that has a lot of speeding tickets.
Yeah, I don't. But I do actually have a pretty sick sound system.
You do?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I like sound.
Yeah.
Here is my studio.
It's very, very nice.
Yeah.
I love the style. And it's very calming.
Yes.
The whole energy and choice of colors. I love it.
Thank you.
Very, very, very nice.
So back to the story about you.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm really curious to hear a little about, like, have you always been like that?
Yeah, I feel like I started out at a very young age doing musical theater and stuff like that, and like just different music things. And when
How old were you then when that happened?
10.
10. So was the age of 10 when you decided, like, oh, this is a hobby I like, or?
No, before that,
Yeah.
I don't remember when it started. I just remember being a child and wanting to, like, the classic, wanting to be Britney Spears, or like just doing music, just seeing stuff on TV and being like, oh, I want to do that.
So at 7 years old in your bedroom,
yes.
Tomine, what were she listening to?
Britney or Christina Aguilera, and just classic.
I remember myself. I had a poster of Christina.
Yeah, so did I.
And it wasn't because of like the typical, oh, I have a crush on her.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought she was absolutely brutal. As you know, as energy, the energies she sent out in the music. It was just like, damn, that girl, she has power.
Yeah.
Like that was like the dances and the moves and like the way she sang. Yeah.
And the difference between Britney was more the sweet, and then Christina came and she was more like rough, I guess, and it was a little bit more sexy. Now looking back at it, I think it's very interesting that I was so young and looked at this artist that was like wearing so little clothes, and that it was very like sexualized. Yeah. But I loved it. I was like, oh my God, I want to have a belly button piercing and like a crop top, like all that whole look. I thought it was so cool. Very, very cool. But no, I've always liked or loved music.
Yeah.
But my dad was always very like, you shouldn't do that, because obviously he's been in the industry forever and seen like the good and the bad, and he's always said that it's very hard and that it's like it's not the best industry. So I kind of just like on my own have like figured out, like done so many different things to try to like figure out what I want to do the most, because I am very, very creative. I love making clothes. I love, like if you said now that you want this table to be, you want a table, whatever. If you said something, I would be like, oh, but we can make that. And then I would right away be like, oh, let's make it with.
Start processing. And so you basically are describing a multi-talent called ADHD.
ADHD. Yes.
Yeah, because
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm great at a lot of stuff, horrible at finishing the projects though. So I start a lot of projects.
No, but I think that makes you know?
Yeah.
And,
it does.
and when you said in the car that you had been diagnosed with that, can you just take me a little around that process? How did that impact your life? And now we're jumping a little, but I just
no, I always jump in conversation. That's my speed. That's good. But no, I've always been a little bit. What do you call that in English?
Say it in Norwegian.
Distré. I think that there is no word in English because.
But the personality that you're describing is more like that you have easily to forget things. You have easily to like be a bit clumsy. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
So my point was just that because I feel like that is and being like impatient and. I don't know. I feel like that is, what describes ADHD a little bit. But I think that now there's a time where a bunch of females are getting diagnosed because it hasn't been, because females usually have it more on the inside. They don't show it. Yeah. So like the boys in the class that have it, they sit like this, but the girls, they're like that, but it's on the inside. And I have just become more and more ADHD, I would say, over the years. Yeah. So it's more on the outside now. So I can be like this, especially if I get excited and I make music. Yeah. I'm like this, and
you
then
can't sit still, and you're like walking around.
Yes. And then I get very like impatient, and then I see the whole vision, and then it's hard for me to articulate that sometimes because. For me, people are very slow. So for me, I see the whole sentence. I see the sentence that they're going to say. So when they say something, I like see the whole conversation. And then I'm like, okay. So it is very hard to like be calm. But yeah.
When you manage to self-reflect like that, that shows that you are aware of your personality.
Yes.
And I think... being aware of your personality and being aware of like your feelings and where they sit in your body and it's super important. And as an artist, I think especially when you make your own music and you're in the creative process of making your own music, because there's a lot of artists these days that doesn't make their own music, and it's maybe I've seen in the industry like inspiration goes deeper in people that are more invested and connecting to their music.
Yeah.
And for me, that is true reflection on their being.
Yes.
And even though you have then, I can't sit still, I can't, you're still connected to the one thing that makes you you.
Yeah, yeah.
If that makes sense.
It does make sense.
And I think when you manage to reflect on that and you manage to figure that out, that I have this sort of like, and it comes from this, and it comes from that, and you manage to reflect on it and grow with it and get older with it, then you don't need medication. Yeah. In my opinion, because then you can learn different ways of living with it. For example, I know for a fact that I have a very mental head, and with mental head, there's a lot of thoughts.
Yeah.
Constantly, all the time, like, and I think for me at least, it helps meditate. It helps breathing.
When I first got the medication, I immediately became incredibly depressed.
Yeah.
And I would say that I had like suicidal thoughts, and that I was like, this is strange because it doesn't feel like this is me. It doesn't feel like those are my thoughts. Yeah. It feels like I'm affected to like feel that or whatever. Yeah. So, but that is very common, and I knew that with that type of medication. So I immediately stopped and tried the other kind that they have. And then I went to LA, and I was in a relationship, and that relationship ended 3 weeks after moving there. So I was like very, very broken. Yeah. And just
And alone,
such a
maybe?
mess. Yes,
Yeah.
very alone. And then I noticed that when I took those pills, I didn't get hungry.
Yeah.
So then I took more of the pills to like, and then I got like very skinny and all that. And I was in LA where the looks is the most important.
Yeah.
So I just didn't eat and just took those pills like more and more. And I just got like literally crazy. And it was not a long period of time, but a lot happened during that, like in my head and everything. And that I was like, this is so insane that this medication, like, that it does that kind of, that it can, screw with your head so much. And
kind of like, in a way, until you manage to break out of that circle, defined you. Mm-hmm. And when something defines you, it's easier to get into a pattern where you like try and recognize, or you try to make sense, or you try to, instead of just accepting.
Yeah.
You know, and when you finally accept, that's when you can start healing.
Yeah.
Because if you don't understand, if you just put a label on something, but you don't really understand why you have been labeled, then it's like super easy to get lost into that transition of being labeled, because you don't know your identity. And that's what I wanted to tell you, like your strength in all of this is really, really inspiring for other girls.
Oh,
and the fact that you moved to a complete different. I moved to LA, or I was in a phase of moving to LA because of my record label, and they were like kind of like pushing me forward to moving there for conveniences of making music, and something in my soul just said no. Like this isn't for me. This is not right. People here that lives here, they say they're happy, but I can see in their eyes, in their, like they are not happy.
They're not.
So I found sometimes some nice people, but they lived so far away. It was like they could have lived in Norway, you know.
Yeah, it's very confusing, especially like because I see myself as someone that's very I don't say things that I don't mean, and I am very straightforward and direct, and I hear people all saying that they're direct and that they're straightforward, and then they show me that they're not, and that confuses me, because then I'm like, why is she saying that she is so, because she's not, and then when I do that, like I actually mean that, but people don't seem to like understand that, no, I'm just saying it literally, this is what I do, you know what I mean, like it's so strange and difficult.
People often, when you are direct because you're in touch with your feelings, they get easily offended.
Very.
Oh, there's so many times like I've been in a room or in like a session where I'm just I really try to just make the best product, and it's like there's so much ego and there's just so much, and then you just have to become this like playmaker to make it happen or to make it work, you know, and then it gets like into like an awkward situation where it's like
and then it's like because there is a difference. There's a difference with the people that want to, because every time in a session with music, for me, it's always about that it has to make sense, and it has to just be
connect.
So for me, I don't care who wrote it, who came up with the idea, or who. It doesn't matter if it ends up with me writing 1% of it. That's fine. That's not important. But
the only thing I care about is don't sit on Facebook in a session.
Oh yeah. Facebook. I haven't been on Facebook forever. That's so funny. But yeah, I understand what you mean. Don't be like distracted.
What type of channels are you on? If it's not Facebook.
It's now Snapchat. but I don't communicate with people on it. I just post.
You just post
on like a public story thing. And then, but Instagram is what I use.
Yeah, me too. I feel like Instagram is...
That's like where I text people almost. Like I talk to people on Instagram.
Are you like a TikToker?
I'm on TikTok. I wouldn't say that I'm a TikToker, but I'm on TikTok.
I'm also on TikTok. But if you ask me how many times I open the app in a week, it's maybe 2 times.
Yeah, but same. Yeah. I'm rarely on there, but I do post TikToks.
Yeah, when you have to.
Yeah, or I just, if I get like an idea for something, I just make the video and then I just post it. And I love making videos. I think it's fun actually. Yeah. But
do you direct your own music videos? And
I haven't done a lot of music videos actually, but that has been a reason why I haven't done it, because I can have such a clear vision, and I know that if I gave up that power to someone else and they just made something that I didn't like, I would be like, no, I can't. So I know that if I am gonna make it, it has to be like well done. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, of course.
Because it can't be like half-ass or like, no, but it can't be. It has to be the vision. What?
It just made me realize like I've had music videos where I thought it was half-assed, and it's like, it's out there. You know.
But that's like, if I think you have like a bar of where you set like a bar, and for me, I haven't had many music videos. So for me, the bar is probably pretty high, because I'm like, if I'm going to make a video now, it has to make sense and it has to be cool and it has to like, I don't know, but it doesn't have to be like perfect all the time, but you
have a high standard for what you want to accomplish.
Yes.
Regarding the art of making a music video.
Wait, this is what I was going to say. Yeah, okay. I feel like, So in a session, in LA, for example, a lot of people are more in their head about, I have to get my percentage or I have to do my part. Yeah. So that's what they're thinking. So they're not in the what's best for the song, they're what's best for me. And that's the worst thing you can do in a session, because I can come in, if you guys, it doesn't matter who you are, you can be like the biggest star ever. If I'm in the room, I will, even if you didn't ask me, I would be like, oh, that's so cool. You should have that part 2 times. Like, that would be so cool. Yeah. That's me just saying...
Yeah, expressing...
Yeah, and I'm just saying, that's my... that's, you can do that if you want. That doesn't mean that I'm like, you have to do that. That's just my idea. But people get so offended and they're like, oh, and then she comes in here and she's like, and I'm like, no, that's not what I did. But then, I would want people to do that with me.
Did you then have time before to get to know them? Or is it like you come in and then you just immediately start on the song?
No, this was actually, I was in this program or whatever in LA with a bunch of other artists and producers, but they were very young and fresh and hadn't worked for so long. Yeah. So I realized that I had been in the industry and been in sessions, like real sessions, for so many years. So I was more in like work mode, where I'm extremely sensitive and I do take things very personally, but when it comes to music, I'm more like technical and logic and like so then I don't care. Yeah. It doesn't hurt my feelings if you don't like my idea.
So what you're saying is basically when you go into a studio with other producers, songwriters, you kind of let your ego be outside the room and you focus mainly on the songwriting and what's best for the product and the song.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think we are the same.
Yeah.
But what I've learned over the years is that especially in LA, if I make songs in London or if I work with people from Europe, it's easier to dialogue, you know, like that this is for the best of the song. But if I have a session with people from LA, I need to speak to them for maybe 2 hours, get their trust, get their confidence, get their, you know, just like boost their egos, basically.
Yep.
And then when I've done that, then I can say my opinions about you know? And it's so weird because then some sessions I've started like with a pop song, and like I went into the session and they like we were clearly working for my project, and it's like but now we're making something that is completely like, I'm not saying that I don't like making this type of music, but this is something I would need to pitch. This is something I wouldn't put my name on.
Yeah.
So, and it's just funny to see then how upset they get.
Yeah.
When they realize like, oh, we're actually here to work on my stuff. You know?
Yeah.
And it's been so many times where people have been like, oh, but this is a smash. And but you know, like, no, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. And also
because I'm not feeling it, you know, like I'm really not feeling it. And the reason why I'm not feeling it is because you're not giving it from your soul.
Yeah.
You're giving it from your thoughts. You know?
Yes, and it seems calculated and very like, ooh, it has to be a catchy phrase or whatever. And like you can still think about like what is popular now, or oh, this is a thing that's trending, it would be fun to use this or whatever, but you can't force it. Because for me, when I listen to music, I can hear what's genuine and what's not. And I can also
but
hear.
You have music in your genes, you know. You have music, like you grew up with music. Even though you at times despite music because you think you hated it because of everything that came around it. You found the true inspiration and the true meaning of music for you.
Yes.
And when you discovered that, music became your like almost not religion, but like it became and it was the same for me, you know, like when a person goes through that, where music, oh wow, it's like it's feelings, it's emotions, it's like you can communicate, you can tell stories, you can like it's a universe. When people discover that, it's
the best. And that's why I really dislike being in sessions with people that I can tell are not there for that, if you know what I mean. If it's that like desperate energy. And I hear it in people that a lot of artists that in their voice as well, like they try too hard, kind of, and it literally like bugs me to listen to. I'm like, I can't hear that voice, and I
have
get
you worked
like
with a lot of people like that, or that type of like you maybe have written one hit and then you've gotten a big publishing sign and then you're suddenly thrown into all these like rooms of different people and like.
I feel like LA is a lot of that is in LA, but in I've had a bunch of sessions in Germany and UK, and I've always had like very, very good relationships with the people that like just in.
So culturally, you see a difference from Europe and the US?
Yes. Yeah. 100%, very much so. But I have to say, it's not just America, but it's LA is very that desperate energy where, and I get it because it's such a big place and everyone wants to make it. So you have to make every second count, and it's that. So I understand the desperation. It's just that I'm from Norway, this super small country where everyone knows each other. Nothing impresses me. Do you know what I mean? Like, the biggest artists in Norway, everyone knows each other. Everyone has seen each other. It's not, and also I understand that, yes, I grew up with my dad, who is one of the biggest artists that Norway has. So obviously I'm affected by that. So that probably makes it like the bar is a little bit higher for me to be like, whoa, like, you know.
Basically what you're saying is that you trust your instincts.
Yes.
And from having a childhood where you were exposed to these things, you were exposed to a lifestyle where most children would not surface, you know.
Yeah.
And with that, you found your identity, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And looking, like, just take Norway as an example. I feel like we have a strong culture about being grounded, about being.
Yes.
And look at the US, how they interpret a lifestyle. And it would have easily been, when you made the step of going to the US and try and work with people over there, to lose that identity. Because I've seen it happen with so many people, and especially people that maybe have grown up inside the music, because they have so much, or they feel at least that they have so much to prove. But you have done the complete opposite. And that just tells me one thing.
What?
You are a queen.
No, oh my God. Thank
seriously.
you.
Like you, no, but you are a divided force of what girls should look up to, be inspired by, because you have gone through so many steps where your identity has been on stake. Yeah. And every time that have happened, you have managed yourself to go in and find those roads that have led you to be true to you.
Oh, that's very nice. It's I'm gonna like cry.
No, but seriously, like
nice.
It's a power. Like when it happens, it's a really powerful thing.
Yeah.
And it's not very common in this industry, and I'm just very fascinating that you have managed to be so pure. So I just wanted to say that.
Oh, pure. Yeah. That's the nicest word ever.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's, thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that. I feel a lot of the times very misunderstood. Yeah. So it's just very nice to hear.
I think the reason why you sometimes get misunderstood is because you have such a strong identity. Aww. And some people can't handle that identity. Oh,
you're making me cry. Yeah. That is so sweet. Yeah. Thank you.
Can I give you a hug?
Yes. I knew I was going to cry today.
Yeah, no, but
and that's,
Yeah, I just really wanted you to hear that, because...
Thank you.
You deserve that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm such a crybaby.
No, it's just...
I literally have it tattooed on my arm. Crybaby. Because I am.
I've always been so afraid of taking tattoos.
You have?
Yeah.
My whole life, since I was little, one of the things that I've heard the most from other people or meeting people is that they're like, oh, you're so... I don't know if they say wild or free or like you just do what you want or like things like that. And they...
Privileged.
That too, which I'm very not, I feel. But yes, I'm privileged in many ways. But no, if they can look at me and be like, oh, she's so like herself or... and then they always say, oh, I wish I was like that, or I wish I said what I meant or could be outspoken. And for me, that's like, why don't you just do it? I'm like, but just say it, just do that. But I do understand that it is difficult for people. But for me, it's difficult to not be myself, or because every time I've been in a lot of relationships where you can see that I'm not myself. Because you can see that I'm all of a sudden very, I would say, boring or basic, which is I probably looked very nice to the normal standard or whatever, but I was super uncomfortable. If you put me in like a normal dress and everything is just like normal and nice hair, I get like I get so uncomfortable. Yeah. I'm like, no, I have to have something that's a little bit strange, or it has to be because I don't feel like I'm in my creative space, kind of, and I like to be in my creative space, and that gets like ripped away if I'm very like A4. I don't know what you would call that.
No, very standard.
Yes.
Do you have artists that you like, that you
are inspired
by?
See, this is so difficult because I haven't, since I was a child, I haven't had any artist that I'm like, ooh, I wish I was her. Do you know what I mean? But I have had like a little thing there and a little thing there that I can be inspired by.
Britney.
Like, yeah.
Christina.
But no, but like if I see, I don't know, like Sabrina, she is so not. She is so herself. Yeah. So I would never like be like, oh, I want to be like her, but I could be inspired by the way she like writes or her melodies and like stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
But do you feel like you have a stronger connection to her due to the fact that you can relate to her upgrowing as well, and like being like a. Because
I don't know.
No?
Maybe.
Stories?
I feel like the one that I've had like a parallel story to is because this is what it's so ridiculous, but since I was little, it was in the Norwegian like gossip, like Se og Hør, and Her og Nå and all those magazines.
Yeah, it's similar to TMC.
Yes.
Yeah, basically.
They wrote about me being like the Norwegian Miley Cyrus when I was younger. And I remember I hated that because, first of all, I thought she was so pretty. And I really, really disliked being put next to her because I felt like then people will see that I'm not as pretty as her and I'm not as, do you know what I mean? So I was like, oh, that's very uncomfortable that they're like putting me next to...
How old were you then?
15 maybe when it started. And
that is, imagine like media do that to a minor.
I know, it's so strange, and I don't see them doing it now, so I'm like, why did they just do that to me?
Yeah,
it's so weird.
That is so horrible.
Yeah, it's strange. It is weird.
I can't imagine how it was for you to be growing up with this, you know, like here you are, a young female that want to be creative, want to just shine and show your spirit. And then when you do that, immediately an old guy is writing about you.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's strange.
That's what that for me that is just like so fucked up. What does he has to say about you and your vision of becoming because you're inspired by something in the US, you know, and you want to be an artist, and it's so cruel.
Yeah, it's weird, and it did put a lot of. Because I was like, 15, 16 when... Did
it scar you, or did you feel like it affected you in a way of...
Yes, it 100%. Because the thing is that I have been in the media since I was 10 years old. Yeah. So when I meet people, they can immediately Google me and they can see all these pictures or whatever. And what I hate the most is... not being in control of pictures and the way I like look, because for me, because I have two parents that are incredibly beautiful and they've been in the media and their looks have kind of been such a big, like that's what I've heard the most, like that all the fathers of my friends were in love with my mom and all the moms were in love with my dad because they're both so pretty. Hot. Yeah. And so that was that made me I was very like self-conscious about the way I looked. And so when I was like 16 and my body was changing and whatever, and then I got really big boobs. Yeah. And then I hated that. Yeah. So I tried to hide it, and then I got uncomfortable, and then I was like trying to, I don't know, I was just very unhealthy, and I gained a little weight, and then the boobs got bigger, and then everything was just like being taken pictures of when you're in that time is just so horrible. Yeah. And then when you're like, you don't know who you are, you don't know what style you want to have, you're going through all these things, and then people are taking pictures of you, and you're at like a premiere or something, and it's like, have you seen your dad lately? And I'm like, oh no, I haven't seen him in a long time now, but I'll see him soon, I guess. If I just said that could be like a headline.
Or she hasn't seen
her dad in a long
ages.
time. Yeah, and then a picture of me walking like this, looking horrible, you know? And it's like, thank you. And it's so strange. Like, even when I dated people when I was 16 and I was at a festival, like the journalist would call me and be like, we hear that you were dating.
I know how like, and luckily I got introduced to the fame side when I was older. You know, I was 24. I've never had anybody in my family or my uncle has been a part of like a folk band here in Norway. But compared to your story, it's night and day. Like, you was born into this.
Yeah, which is exactly the last song that I released is called Kjendis. Celebrity, which is a song that I just really needed for myself to just write, because I hate that word more than anything. I've always hated it. It's such a ugh. So I wanted to just remove that and just kind of take ownership of the word and have a new meaning. Yeah. And now, to me, I think it's more, now I laugh when I think about that word instead of being like the angry, because it's about that. It's about being born into it, where people are like, oh, but you choose to, and then, but did I choose it though? Or was it kind of pushed down my throat? And yes, I feel like when people say that you chose, I feel like so just because I like singing, just because I do that, it doesn't mean that I choose to be in this. Yeah. I just, I didn't ask for all the extra stuff. No, I just want to make music.
And then from your universe and from your perspective at the time, you made it work. And you found things you personally could connect to, make your own. And in that, there's so much strength.
Oh, thank you.
Strength, sorry.
Yeah. No, I thought you said strength.
I meant strength.
Yeah. I personally believe and think that, and I don't know, but if I wasn't born into this, or if my dad was not my dad, I feel like I would have had several albums out by now. Yeah. I feel like I would have done more music. I feel like I would be more of an artist outwards than what I am now. Because to me, all that has done has just made me incredibly insecure, and kind of it's taken a longer time to get where I wanted to come, because I feel like it's just been this like negative and a lot of like expectations, and you have to do this and this, and mostly the whole appearance thing, that has distracted me. Yeah. And I've been more like obsessed with like, oh, I have to be pretty, or I have to look like this, and I have to be skinny.
But do you know why?
What?
Because in the times that we are in right now, you are at an age where you can connect to the females that are 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 years today. You have wisdom that you collected from your life from your growing up that you also can bring in. And what I'm seeing is that you're finding your place.
Yeah. 100%.
And I've felt this. I can just relate to myself. But when you are trying to find yourself, you have to let time be your ally.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. And I haven't been ready. I haven't
just a question. If you could go back in time.
Yes.
As the person you are today, 15 years or 20 years back in time, what would be the advice you would give yourself?
It would be focus more on you and not and to develop yourself and like your confidence or whatever, and like trust yourself, because what I see now is that I've always been the same.
Yeah. And if you take away the words, because now you got very technical.
Okay, sorry.
What would you have said? If you had just a blink of a second to tell yourself?
Just trust yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or trust your intuition.
You know what I would say?
No, what?
You are more than good enough.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And you will always be.
Yeah. Yeah, that I would also say. That was a good one. I would say that.
And with that, what do you think we want to make today? From a complete side, just from this like super deep conversation. We have to make something electronic because I'm on the computer. But
no, I know. Well,
what type of music have you been making lately?
I like to mix genres, and I always like to challenge. Like I want you to be challenged, and I want me to be challenged, because it's not like we do the same kind of genre necessarily, but that's what I like about it. That it's just, I don't know. I always like to start with a vibe or whatever, and then like a beat or a sound or something, and then it kind of just like comes natural to me what I feel the song should be about or whatever.
I just had this idea while you were talking.
Yeah.
And you were telling the story about you and the magazine, and like you just wish that you could go back and just like tell yourself like, oh, don't care about that. Don't, care about you. Don't care about the external factors.
Yeah.
It would have been cool to write a song about that.
Yeah.
Like,
100%. That is
just
very...
yeah. I just feel there's something very inspirational about that story of like the insecurity you had and the vulnerability in that. And it was thrown at you. You didn't choose it yourself. It wasn't like you wanted to have it. It was just like this was forced on you. And what that makes like the whole surrounding around you, the whole like the energy that happened, and then the fact that you managed to just like go from that and become even stronger and stronger and stronger.
Yeah. I'm still on that journey. I'm not quite there yet.
No, I know.
But
I know.
I will. I'm on the right path.
Everything happens at the right time.
Yes, I agree with that 100%. And that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And leads you to, So I agree.
As long as you are present in your own life.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a good topic to write about, 100%.
Just really felt a strong, vulnerable connection when you said that earlier. It was almost like you open up a door that you have explored, but that you are a little afraid of going back into?
Yeah.
And I think when the camera shuts down and we can go on the keys and we can something magical will happen.
Yeah. It sounds like a good idea.
Some coffee and some good music.
Yes.
Let's do this.
This will be nice. I need matcha.
Tomine. The song you're hearing is almost real, and me and Tomine just made it in the studio, and I feel it turned out so emotional and beautiful. Pre-save this because this monster is coming out on Friday, and the best thing, we're gonna do it all over again next week. Catch you later, and remember to spread the love.